Hi everyone, this is Andy 2E0VPX, and I said in the first video I published about this transceiver that I'd post an update when I had one. You'll remember that this is the Drumgrange VHF-UHF transceiver DX502, which is a military grade transceiver for both the civilian and military airbands. And it was bought blind on eBay. I had no idea whether it would work or not. And as you saw in the first video, it does. It does work. So if we switch it on. However, as you can see on that display, there we go. There are two options. One is you can use this radio manually by setting the frequency. Or you've got a reconfigure option. Sorry about the reflection, by the way. There we go, that's a bit better. Yeah, there's a reconfigure option. In order to access that, you need the access code, and I didn't have the code, and I imagined that it wouldn't be available, and it isn't generally available. However, I'm happy to tell you that I have now got the code, or the codes, I should say, and chapter 3 of the operating manual, which is the receiver part of the manual. So good news is we've now got the codes. I'm not going to post them on YouTube. Doesn't seem quite right, really, just in case people are using them for their own security. But I'll figure a way of anyone who particularly needs the code, who doesn't have it for the purpose of operating their radio, contact me, and I'll see about providing it. I guess, you know, once it's out there, isn't it? So it's probably pointless trying to be a bit secretive about it, but it doesn't feel quite right to publish it on YouTube. So what I'll do is I'll just show you, I'll just look elsewhere for a moment while well, basically what you do is you enter the code. So I'll choose option 2. There's actually two codes. There's a user code and a master code. I'll go for the master codes. Let me just enter that while you're not looking. There we go. So now we're in, and as you can see, if I could get rid of that reflection, we've now got 3 options: the channel options, the access options, and a set defaults. Set defaults just resets the radio back to default. 2 is so you can set up new user accounts. So you could set a password that you recognise for yourself, for example, or not a password, a passcode, and then you wouldn't have to remember the long code that is available on the radio itself. And 1 enables you to program the channels, which is what I was really after. You can see on the channel control dial there are 10 channels available, and now I can program them all, which is pretty good. So I'm going to come out of that, not worry about that, go back to channels, and you can now see I've programmed. There's one of them. Yeah, so they're now all programmed and all programmable, which is particularly useful. Radio so far has proved to be absolutely marvellous. I've been using it. Let's just put it on somewhere we might get some signals. Although probably not, because it never happens when you want it to, does it? So I've been using it now for a week or two, and it's absolutely marvellous radio, and it's now hooked up to a slightly better antenna as well. So all in all, a great success, and for the price, unbelievable really. There you go. There's an example of it working. So with those access codes, as I say, and the manual itself is, there's not much else in it. I mean, it's all fairly obvious, really. But the codes do enable you to process those channels, which is really what it's all about. Once you can...
on QNH 1010, for basic service will be operating the box between 2 and 5,000 feet. Golf Whiskey Alpha, Squawk 3602, basic service, the bars in QNH 1004. 3602, basic service, Boundary 1004, Golf Whiskey Alpha.
There you go. So that's an illustration of it working. But now that I can program those channels, it makes the radio much more usable than it was previously with just the manual setting of frequencies. So there you go. If you can get one of these and you can be reasonably sure it's working, then absolutely worth their weight in gold. Brilliant radios. And now that you can get the access code, which you can get from me or other sources if you happen to know it, then you've got full use of the radio, so no limits. The only thing is, as has been said on other videos, just watch out if you are buying one, unless you're prepared to take the risk that I took, then ask for the radio turned on with that tuned light lit. If the tuned light is lit, then the radio is stable and usable. If it's not, then it's not. I just took the gamble, bought the radio as seen, and there we go, it has paid off. But equally, it might not have paid off, and I could have ended up with a very heavy piece of interesting junk. So I've also posted some pictures of the interior on the thread attached to the first video, and boy, are they well made. Have a look at those. Quite incredible, really. Fantastic piece of equipment. 32 screws to take off the top cover, so overkill when it came to that. But a marvellous modular design inside, as is often the case with military bits of kit like this, I guess, so they can just pull an offending bit and stick in a replacement. There you go. That's the Drumgrange VHF UHF DX502 Airband Transceiver. And I'll probably post some more, either about this radio or other radios. As you can see in my shack, I do have that's a nice marine VHF radio, but there's quite a bit else going on as well, very quickly. So maybe I'll do some videos about some other radios as well. Thanks very much. Catch you later. 7-3.